No toys. I'm not late. I'm pretty much right on time. How you doing? How you doing, my friend? As you know, we're gonna wait a few minutes before we get started. Let more people get in here. How was your weekend? Hopefully it went well. Hopefully you got Um, and as always, for those who might be in here coming in, if haven't already liked and shared the stream, be appreciated. See if we can get some more friendly people in here. If you're on time, you're late. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. I usually just have all I usually have to do is just click on the 5 seconds before, and then hey, Bat Goat, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Hope you had a good weekend. So did you guys were you guys able to? Hey, Woody, and again, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. If you guys can do that, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be very appreciated. So yeah, it looks like we have at least 4 of us in here, even though the counter still says 2 for some reason. But now it's going up to 3. Hey, Leto. Hey guys. Everybody's here early and on time tonight, so that's good. Yeah. So, well, with that, then it looks like we have at least the normal. We have at least 4 of us here. Hey, Mike, Bat, Goat, Toys, and Woody. All right. So, how'd your weekend go, guys? Bat Goat, I know you actually were heading off to visit or hang out with a friend who was retiring. How'd that go? Yeah, we missed. We missed you, Bat Goat. We missed. Yeah, RJ was good. RJ was good, but it's a different feel each time you have a different host. So, hey, Leto from ATC. Yeah, we got into a couple of George Brenner stories, and then with the clock and clip chance of Cliffside, and then got into Archie O'Toole and got into some of the other stories. So, but I'm glad to see you. I think I've been really tired of late. No energy, laugh out loud, huh? We're coming up on 4 minutes here. All right. Okay. So, all right. So we got our full complement. It looks like our usual complement. So, of people we got like, back. Let's see. Didn't do that. I started cleaning big time, big job. I'm ordering stuff right now while listening. Oh, okay. Oh, so you didn't get a chance to go hang out with your friend then, huh? Hey, everyone. Hmm. Except early today. I should be good. All right. So, okay. So now we're coming up on 5 minutes. So now before I before I get into the stories and stuff like that, we're gonna go ahead and get into those pretty because as I said, we got our usual crowd here. Oh, that sucks. Back. Um. Um, all right, so guys, I hope you all will be able to make it on Friday because aside from, of course, our the historical comic retrospect, and this Friday, of course, we'll be starting our coverage of July in 1938. We'll be reading through DC stuff. Aside from that, I have two major announcements on Friday that I will be doing. So I hope you all will be here on Friday because I have two major announcements in regards to the future of the Mikestand. One of them pertaining to kind of the in regards to the rest of the year in terms of scheduling, but also another one that'll be more of a longer impact. So I hope you guys will be here on Friday. As I said, I'll have a couple of major announcements. And with that, we're already at about 6.5 minutes here. So, and we got 4 or 5 of us in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go over. I have 8 stories to go over tonight. 3 from Bounding into Comics, 5 from CBR. Um, the 3 are all comics related. The 5 from CBR are all anime related. Among the stories we're going to talk about tonight will include what DC is doing with Superman, with the latest their latest idea of what modern day crime fighting is all about. Also, Mike Barron, who formerly was with Marvel and who was formerly with Marvel and DC in the past, is big on his own now and was actually featured on was featured on was featured on Critical Blast last week. He's got a new comic coming out called The Thin Blue Line, a comic promoting the police. Ethan Van Sciver with some commentary on the continual downfall of the comic book industry. Also, in terms of the anime side of it, um, forgotten vampire manga that we're gonna take a look at called Vampire Girl Guilt Zana, I believe, or Nazar. Let's see. Also on tap for tonight, among the other stories, um, they're gonna have a 1-day U.S. theatrical release again of the 1985 classic Maycross Plus, which was the anime that Robotech was based on, in part. Um, Also, let's see what else. Got some profile pieces, including um, how to, what to look for when you're looking for a tsundere. We're gonna be looking at some some harem anime, some profiles on some harem anime from the 2010s. Woof. um, and then there was one other, and I even just looked. Oh, and if you were interested in either watching the anime or reading the manga, Kaguya-sama, we're gonna basically tell you how you can go about doing that. 20 a swarm of bots. Maycross Plus was one of my first animes before I knew what anime was a thing. Yeah, for me, Leto, that point for me was Dot Hack Sign. Dot Hack Sign was the first anime I watched before I knew what anime was. So yeah. So, anyways, with all that being said, and the counters, of course, being screwy, and if you guys haven't had a chance as of yet, if you can like and share the stream to see if we can get some more, friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Batgoat. I remember watching it as a kid as well. Robotech was like one of the source materials for Robotech. Basically, was make the Macross series. Um. So, anyways, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started on. So I can find the cursor, of course. There we go. Let's see. Alrighty then. So, without no further ado, let's get to this first story here. So this is apparently what being a hero means to SJWs right here. Look at this. School strike for climate justice. Not battling a megalomaniacal villain who's trying to take over the world, or an evil criminal scientist trying to show how smart he is by committing crimes, or defeating an intergalactic threat that could just forget climate change, that an intergalactic threat that could just totally obliterate the planet in one shot. You know, forget about all that. This is apparently what a lot of social justice warriors think is is worth putting a superhero's time to. DC Comics and Tom Taylor's idiocy on full display. Bisexual Superman strikes for climate justice. Article by J.B. Augustine, published on Friday, October 22nd, 2021. So this past Friday. So let's get a look at this. Okay. The newly outed bisexual son of Superman that's inherited the cape and title, but not the motto, is taking on a new cause in an upcoming issue. In Superman, Son of Kal-El, #7, Jonathan Kent takes on the pressing apocalyptic issue, to some, of climate change. Climate change. As a pressing apocalyptic issue. Really? So they think climate change is right up there with, I don't know, Galactus, or Ego, the Living Planet, or let me see, what are some others? Harbinger, Dark Side, um, Brainiac. Climate change is right up there with those guys. Yeah, and these are probably the same people who think Captain Planet is stronger than Superman. Let me see what you guys are saying on all that, because you get. Let's see. Never saw Robotech series. Yeah, Robotech was probably a little before your time, Leto. Superman can just push the Earth further away from the sun to prevent. Yeah, yeah, good point. I mean, that actually has happened. We've seen it in cartoons, at least, where where Superman has pushed the Earth out of the way. I've seen that was a major plot point in one particular episode of the Super Friends invasion of the Therians. But, um, Anyways, okay. Yeah. So anyways, let's get back to the article then here. Let's see. Writer Tom Taylor made this made this plain in an announcement on Twitter, accompanied by some art from the issue that could make it and that couldn't make it any clearer or less blatant. Quote: Our Superman, um, hashtag Superman, joins other heroes on the cover to Superman Son of Kal-El, #7, wrote Taylor. Quote, out in January from at DC Comics, art by John Tim Sart, Climate Strike, Fridays for Future. Oh God, School Strike for oh God, yeah, yeah. Climate change is right up there with Dark Side, with Galactus, with Ego, the Living Planet. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It is idiocy, JB. It is idiocy. Taylor previously confirmed that Superman would become a climate change activist, telling IGN, quote, I think Clark said it best when he left Earth in John's hands. Clark was the Superman of tomorrow. John is the Superman for the days after. Unquote. Oh, he continued, quote, the question for John and for our creative team is, what should a new Superman fight for today? Can a 17-year-old Superman battle giant robots while ignoring the climate crisis? Of course not. Yeah, but Superman could also alter the Earth's atmosphere in a number of ways to prevent climate change too. He could move the Earth away from the sun to, quote unquote, to stop global warming. He could, start with his super cool breath. He could have a nice cool breeze in the atmosphere, you know, or use his heat vision to heat certain areas of the Earth up that need to be heated up. I hope that Granted, I know we're gonna probably be stuck with this for the next at least 2 or 3 years, if not more. But I hope this woke revolution ends sooner rather than later. These idiots. He continued, quote, the question for John. Actually, we did read that. Not only will he take on climate change, but Taylor also noted he'll be addressing asylum seekers and illegal immigrants. Quote, can someone with super sight and super hearing ignore injustices beyond its borders? So basically, they're basically going to make him more of an anti-hero, because basically if he helps illegal immigrants, he's going to be breaking the law. So they're turning him into a criminal. They are turning Superman into a criminal. So can he ignore the plight of asylum seekers? Well, if they're trying to get asylum legally, then he shouldn't have to intervene. Interestingly enough, Taylor claims these radical activist positions are because of Lois Lane's influence. Taylor explained, well, I would almost have to kind of agree with that. especially with what I recently read about Dana Delaney, who voiced Lois in the in the DCAU cartoon, starting with Superman the animated series, and then her, of course, subsequent appearances later on in like Justice League Unlimited, and then of course provided the voice of Loana in the episode For the Man Who Has Everything. Well, because Dana Delaney is said to be a major SJW as well. So, from what I've read, Taylor explained, quote, when asking these questions, it's important to acknowledge that John isn't just the son of Kal-El. He's also the son of Lois Lane. John is the son of the fiercest, most effective journalist on the planet. With that comes a strong sense of right and wrong. Superman had a strong sense of right and right. Again, there's another example of what Isaiah said in the Bible. Okay, we've come to a point where right is called wrong and wrong is called right. An instinctive dislike of corruption. Well, if you guys remember when we read the last Superman stories we read, Clark had a strong sense of right and wrong too, and he dealt with he didn't deal with corruption by striking. He actually took the people who were directly responsible and made them look at how their lives influence people. So strong desire for the truth to win over misinformation. Unquote. Quote, but John is young and passionate, and sometimes how he tackles things will be a bit heavy handed. And just like we see in our world, when young people speak truth to power, it ruffles the feathers of certain older people who are used to being the loudest voice in the room. Taylor added. Yeah, well, Tom Taylor, remember, let's not forget, I think Tom Taylor is actually originally from Australia. So he probably came into our country hating America already. So he wanted the benefits of being in America, land of the free of the brave, but he didn't, he doesn't like the way it's run. So while Taylor claims this new Superman has a strong desire for the truth to win over misinformation, unquote, no, he doesn't. It appears that's not actually the case given this image of Kent protesting quote unquote climate justice. It's clearly full of activists spreading plenty of misinformation. Yep. Udon Entertainment director of publishing Matt Moylan is skeptical of the idea metahuman and super scientists, quote unquote, couldn't solve climate change in the DC universe. Yeah. Superman himself could do quite a bit to do that. Let's see. He also took notice of a sign in the corner saying, quote, there's no planet B, and pointed out the fallacy there within the DC universe. Actually, that's true too. That's a good point too. Because there are plenty of planet B's, as it were, in the DC universe. There's a lot of inhabitable planets in the DC universe. We've seen this. This is just them trying to take these iconic characters and push an agenda. He added, quote, P.S. There's no planet B while literally walking next to an alien. Literally walking next to an alien. Ha ha ha. There are so many planet Bs, which is what I, of course, just said. Yeah, here is actually a. I guess a. Oh, I guess I actually skipped over something here. Quote, if there's a climate problem in the DC universe, just fix it. Moylan tweeted, it's a universe filled with characters with weather powers, matter manipulation powers, super scientists, unquote. He added, P.S. There's no planet B while literally walking next to an alien. Ha ha ha. There are so many planet Bs. Yep. Yep. Taylor responded to this criticism saying, quote, okay, I have to address this. There are so many people commenting with, in little quotes, there's literally a planet B. Superman is from there. To those people, I have bad news. Turns out Krypton's leaders denied the science, and look, it didn't end well, unquote. But that wasn't from Tom. That wasn't from climate change, though. That was actually from one specific natural disaster. That really didn't have anything to do with climate change. Krypton, if anything, was one of the most scientifically advanced planets out there. Okay, they didn't have pollution. They didn't have like air pollution. They didn't have smog. They didn't have garbage in the streets. You know, yeah. The science was that the core, Krypton's core, was heating up to a point where it was going to explode. That's something that I don't even think they could have probably dealt with per se. They would have had to move on. Okay. It didn't end well for them because they ignored the science and ended up dying. They could have escaped the planet and gotten in, done as they did with Kal-El. Tom, that wasn't climate change as you would explain it. That was one natural disaster. Okay. Let's see what you guys might be saying in regards to any of this. All right. To the bathroom tomorrow. Uh, so the new Superman petitions others to do hard work and then goes home. Yeah, that's what it seems like, Woody. He needs to go ask his daddy for help. Yeah. He needs a spanking. He needs to be taken to the woodshed. Somebody needs to take a kryptonite laced belt to his hide and whip it till his CNN said that carbon dioxide would cause the Earth to explode next Thursday. Most of their audience would believe it. Yeah, that's true. I want Fauci in the DC universe to give this new Superman a shot of green liquid to help him recover from COVID. Laugh out loud. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous that they don't even understand the nature and physics of the DCU to begin with. But that's SJWs for you. Only the stupidest people to be born on this earth. While true, the problem is the DCU is a multiverse full of alternate realities and parallel Earths. There is an infinite number of Planet Bs and backup plans. A few universes may even still have a Krypton intact, so the doom and gloom about the climate in a DC comic doesn't make much sense, which is true. Superman Son of Kal-El, #7, is due out in January, barring any blocks in supply chain or paper shortages. Yeah, I don't know if this one's gonna sell too much anyways, because it just sounds so freaking stupid. And this picture is from Superman the Animated Series. But yeah, I mean, point is, within the DCU, there are a number of other Earths and parallel universes, parallel Earths, and all that. So, and to Tom Taylor's point about them ignoring the science, yeah, well, Krypton didn't didn't die off because of climate change. It was one natural disaster. Okay, I'll say this again. They're one of the most scientifically advanced societies known. Okay, by the time Kal-El Clark was born. Okay, um, they didn't have air pollution. They didn't have they didn't have garbage in the streets. They didn't have garbage in the oceans. You know, um, they they were. I mean, it's just stupid to say that climate change had anything to do with Krypton's destruction when everybody knows it was what it was their core, their planet's core got too hot. Basically, got too hot, started radiating more and more, and eventually just burst out. Let's go, Brandon. Will be the next best-selling comic. Well, I didn't. I haven't actually seen that Leto. I did hear something about that. Enchanted. Y'all, yeah. Wonder if he's even aware of what they're actually saying. I saw a still pic left out. I have heard some of that's going on. Yeah. You know what would really be funny? You guys know what would really be funny? If okay, now back going Woody, you might remember this. Toys, maybe you would too. Back there in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a very popular commercial chant in regards to like Budweiser and Bud Light. It's like great taste, less filling, great taste, less filling, great taste, less filling. It'd be funny if we ended up with something like that with F. Joe Biden, let's go, Brandon. F. Joe Biden, let's go, Brandon. F. Joe Biden, let's go, Brandon. That would be something else. Also, the new artist, playing the old artist for the Superman son of. Well, the colorist is who would have got replaced there, Leto. It was the colorist who quit, Gabe Talib, I believe. Um, yeah, well, Leto, that's because the new person you're talking about is a new colorist. Okay, which means that they're only responsible for coloring the picture. So they may have colored it a slightly differently from what Gabe did. But it was for okay. I know it's for one of them. Light beer by Miller Lite. Okay, right, colorist. No one says FJB anymore because Let's Go Brandon means you hate the media as well. uh, I don't know. I mean, again though, it might just be funny to hear. Might just be funny to hear it come out that way. But anyways, we're at 36 minutes here. Let's get on to the next articles then. The next article here. Of course, this is Bounding in the Comic coverage of this. I know RJ also had RJ on his stream had this guy on his stream last week as well. Mike Barron launches crowdfund campaign for pro police graphic novel Thin Blue Line. Article by John F. Trent, published this past Friday. So here we go with this one then. And I can get it lined up, right? Former Marvel and DC Comics writer Mike Barron, known for his runs on The Punisher and The Flash, as well as his comic adaptations of Star Wars, not to mention his creator owned work of The Badger and Nexus, launched an Indiegogo campaign for a new pro police graphic novel titled Thin Blue Line. According to the Thin Blue Line's Indiegogo campaign page, the story, quote, follows police officer Valeria Baca and her partner, Bob Mack, as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a fight for survival, unquote. The description adds, quote, mobs burn down City Hall, forcing the officers to improvise on the run, relying only on their training and wits as the mayor's protestations and eagerness to placate the rioters prove fruitless, unquote. Yeah, that's a very familiar story, isn't it? It concludes, quote, Thin Blue Line is a gripping and entertaining story that offers an unblinking look at human fallibility on every level. Readers will follow the harrowing journey of two law enforcement officers who must fight for their community and their own survival in a world gone mad, unquote. Written by, of course, Mike Barron, Joe Arnold, I think, did the artwork, and Jeff Fleeman's also. That must be Valeria Baca right there. If this sounds familiar, Barron makes no bones about it that the story is ripped straight from the headlines. In a press release sent to Bounding into Comics, he says, quote, I've always ripped stories from the headlines as readers of Punisher and Nexus can attest, unquote. He adds, quote, the country's slide into anarchy is the stuff of drama, and one reason cop, lawyer, and doctor related shows are so popular, unquote. The Thin Blue Line writer also notes this story will specifically counter the, quote, defund the police movement, stating, quote, most cops are civic-minded individuals who want to serve the public. Narratives pushed by the, quote, the smaller quote, defund the police, unsmaller quote, crowd are wildly inaccurate, unquote. Look at that. She knocked that guy out, didn't she? Barron is collaborating with police officer and artist Joe Arnold on the series, as well as inker Jeff Sleemans. Speaking of Arnold, Barron said, quote, "I've known Joe since long before he became a cop. He was always drawing and a regular at our local monthly comic meetings, along with many other industry pros like Gabe Eltabe. That's the colorist who quit DC. That's the one we were just talking about. Joe was a natural fit for the project and brought authenticity to it," unquote. The book will also feature a cover by Butch Geis, as well as pinups by Sergio Cariello. While the campaign is clearly to fund the graphic novel, once the initial funding goal is met, portions of the proceeds, quote, will go to various police assistant projects, unquote. One of those projects is called Adopt a Cop, BJJ. Um, it includes, quote, training cops in de-escalation and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which protect both officer and suspect, unquote. Proceeds will also go to National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and the National Fallen Officer Foundation. Campaign has multiple tiers for backers. A digital version of the graphic novel can be backed for $10, while the print version is $25. Okay. Other options include autographed editions, original art pieces, and even having your mugshot appear in the book. Oh, that's funny. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to pay money so I can be made to look like a crook. Yeah, like a rioter. Right. Yeah. Okay. The Onion article. See. That was the Onion article. Leftist dad doesn't know how to cheer for son during soccer game. It's better to see the video of Biden because he holds that exact same position for like 20 seconds or more. Yeah, it made me laugh so hard. I'll have to check that out. That's the article back up. Oh, I meant checking out uh, Brandon Channing for 20 seconds laugh out loud. Yeah, YouTube's being screwy with their counter again, of course. The campaign has multiple tiers for backers. A digital okay, yeah, um all right, we just uh, oh yeah, okay. We did just read all that. Let's move on to the next. Okay. The campaign has a fixed goal of $8,000. As of writing, 11 people have backed the campaign and it's raised $478. So, and I know RJ also tried to help with that as well. I know Mike Barron went on to EBS's stream too. So All right. Well, anyways, let's see now. All right. So, anyways, let's move on to the last of the articles from Bounding in the Comics here. Hey, we're already at 46 minutes, so that's not too bad. Okay, so back good. I know you. I know you're a big fan of this guy, so you're gonna probably want to listen in on this. Ethan Van Sciver gives further insight into why he supports Comicsgate and how the comic book industry is being destroyed from within. Article by J.B. Augustine, published October 22nd, 2021. Comicsgate figurehead and Cyberfrog writer artist Ethan Van Sciver recently went deep into the reason he believes comic sales are being driven down the drain. Industry infiltration by woke left wing activists. Yeah, and we saw that earlier in the previous article we read. Not the most immediate. So, source: Green Lantern Rebirth, Volume One, Issue One, 2004. Words by Jeff Jones, art by Ethan Van Sciver. Okay. Appearing on the Daily Wire YouTube channel, Van Sciver argued that Marvel and DC comics have become unreadable because these activists have replaced traditional liberals and decided comics are sexist and problematic, a crisis they themselves invented and for which they conveniently decided they were quote unquote the fix for. And then they give, I guess, an example of then and now. Uh, he also noted that while comics have had a long history of diversity, with many black, female, and gay characters leaving their mark, it's not the boxes they check that make them special, which is true. Readers identify with Spider Man, Van Sciver gave an example, not because Peter Parker is a non Hispanic white, but rather due to the responsibilities that fall on him as a hero and as a regular person. Uh huh. You know, obviously having to practice that the with great power comes great responsibility motto, as well as taking care of his aunt. Superior Spider-Man number 20. Modern comic creators can't work within those lines anymore, said Van Sciver. So there is a Spider-Man of color, an Iron Woman of color, and a bisexual Captain Marvel, who is set to make her way into the MCU soon. All introduced in service of appealing to a small subsect of fans who might find some way to take offense, but in reality don't actually read these comics in the first place. Continuing, Van Sciver says Comicsgate arose from this phenomenon because most readers want characters like Captain America or Superman who represent the spirit or the heart of heroism rather than a focus on matching sexual preferences. Who represent rather than a focus on matching. Yeah, which is true. Marvel number one. The former DC creator also said that he took notice of changes being made to the Man of Tomorrow during his time at DC, mainly the deletion of the spit curl in his hair and the switch to jeans and a t-shirt in lieu of a costume in 2011. Yeah, which is what they're talking about is particularly more with Superboy with Connor Kent, Superman's clone. You know, I think there was also, I don't know if that happened in the 2000s or in the 90s, but there was also Superboy and the Ravers, but I think that was again featuring Connor Kent, Kal-El's clone. DC's maneuver there was necessitated by the ongoing legal suits with the family of Jerry Siegel, who wanted the character rights to Superman reverted to his estate. The redesigns of Superboy and Superman during the New 52 helped them circumventing the Siegel heirs and successfully worming through their way through a legal loophole. Finding out about these changes later on, Van Sciver said he was remorseful for his part in the subterfuge. Quote, much to my chagrin, I realized I was part of hurting the family of a character I grew to love, unquote. He said also, remarking that Superman is his favorite superhero. New 52, Superman, DC Comics, Action Comics. Oh, so I didn't know Clark actually had gone with that look as well. I knew Connor went with that look, but I didn't even know. Okay, that yeah. This is um this is of course volume 2, number 1 of Action Comics. New 52 here. According to the artist, DC's current business tactics and creative decisions are designed to harm and deprive the creators of their legacy characters. As for the invasion of woke progressivism into the industry is concerned, he believes it began long ago. Well, I think we just read the article the other day where Pope John Paul II had actually warned of this as well. So Van Sciver pointed to the years of the George W. Bush administration as the beginning of comics, quote unquote, political poisoning, but added that it was the Trump years when the crazy train went off the cliff. Now, mind you, now we're not there yet in our historical comic retrospect. We're not quite there yet, but to give you guys a little heads up too, as we're going through our historical retrospect, when we get into the 40s, particularly around World War II, we're gonna see some some political pandering involved in there as well. FDR was a very key guest star in both for both DC and was actually considered a major part of both their universes, DC and Marvel. Of course, at the time, Marvel was known as Timely Comics, as I recall. So just to give you guys kind of a heads up there on that. Um, let's see. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Now fighting for truth, justice, and love for our fellow man. Truth, justice, and a swish gayer tomorrow. Woohoo! Fabulous. 2 snaps up. Yeah. Laugh out loud. Donald Trump Jr. is selling some shirts. Laugh out loud. Think I want one. Oh, did you guys also hear that they actually do have the makings for starting up his own social network, Truth Social. You guys might have seen me share that the other day as well. The Trumps have that Truth Social going on. So, right. To that end, he believes that the moment he tweeted a photo of himself wearing a MAGA hat in celebration of Trump's 2016 election victory was when both, quote, the SJWs, unquote, and people he thought were his friends turned their vitriol toward him. Spider-Man Life Story number 2. People who disagreed with the um, all caps impresario not only wished death and violence upon him, but also attacked him online or at signings and even combed his social media for anything they could use against him. Um, Costumelli, Contumelis of Van Sciver um, being a Nazi, and hit pieces followed soon after. All of which, he says, led him to, quote, understand what cancel culture was, unquote, with the artist describing the despicable practice as, quote, running afoul of a group of activists who are organized and who have tactics they're used quite successful. Oh, sorry. Had a kind of a slight moment there. Sorry, guys. Quite successfully to destroy the lives of people in the way of their agenda. I don't know. Sometimes reading some of that gives me the urge to want, we all remember the whole punch a Nazi bit. Yeah, well, sometimes reading stuff like that about SJWs makes me want to punch an SJW. Heard about that. Oh. Anyways, we're back up to 3 people now. And if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that would be very appreciative. According to Van Sciver, DC, not wanting to be the target of harassment, requested he scrub his social media and stay away from Comicsgate, but he refused, asserting that he agreed with the movement and wished to defend himself. Although he left DC some time ago, Van Sciver remarked that the other side has continued to hound him even after he was fired, wanting to make sure he never works again under threat that they'll vilify and destroy anyone who gives him another job. However, despite all the weird facts and risks to his and others' careers which resulted from these developments, Van Sciver sees a quasi silver lining. The fate of the mainstream comic industry is in jeopardy as the way things are going can't last. Which we've been seeing, which EVS, Ethan, Flash, Tug, many of our favorites have noted just how mainstream comic sales are going Down, 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 down. Gravity. Going down, down, down. Anyways. Quote, I think the mainstream comic industry is gonna continue to limp along for a little while, but it cannot last forever because it doesn't offer anything wonderful anymore. Quote unquote. He asserted. So it's the Flash Rebirth Volume 1, Number 5, Mother May I, 2010, DC Comics, word by Jeff Jones, and art by Ethan Van Sciver. Van Sciver views the business as a crossroads similar to the one Stan Lee faced when his wife urged him to do a comic the way he wanted, providing the spark of inspiration for the Fantastic Four, eventually the entire Marvel age. Um, in his view, independent crowdfunded comics are at the dawn of the next great age in the medium. And as such, Van Sciver urges everyone to support these comics and their creators, but especially for said creators to support one another. What do you make of Van Sciver's latest appraisal of the modern comic book industry? Let us know your thoughts on social media in the comments down below. Yeah, I think he's spot on. I think he's spot on. Let's see. Down, doobie, down, down, down. Breaking is hard to do. Yeah, anyway, so okay, so that's all the comic stories here, and the stories from Bounding into Comics. So let's move on to the next set of stories, the anime story, all over on CBR here. It keeps me going down. I need to tell you what keeps me going round. When you go down, 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 gravity. So now we're gonna move on from like some of the more real, just raging, serious stuff to maybe some more funner stuff here. Alrighty then. Some little profile pieces on some stuff coming along here. Actually, um, I'll be right back. I do need to step away from the computer for a moment. I will be right back. Oh, hey, solid. Let's see. Hey there, Leto. Zach points out in a recent video that Superman's boy toy has his own superpower of being impossible to harm, so there can never be a Superman saves Lois type plot element, and similarly much else. Yeah, that's true, Woody. That's true. They took that part of it out of it. You know, he supposedly can't be harmed. He's supposedly involved. I mean, he's still more. I mean, I'm sure there's some way he could. I mean, I'm sure if you threw him into the sun, he probably would still burn. His skin would still burn. Burn to a crisp. They're solid. There's a buddy. Good. Oh, anyways. Yeah, he has a ghost superpower. Um, you can go right through him. Yeah, but you see, but I guess in order to, but then again, even with that type of power, Leto, he has to be conscious enough that he's in danger. Somebody's aware that his power is more ghosting. You know, somebody was to sneak up behind him and let's say put a carotid choke on him. That might make it a little bit harder for him to concentrate to utilize his power. Anyways, moving on to the next story here. Got 5 more, all in the anime, and these should go a little quicker, I believe. We're just past the hour and 8 minutes here. Vampire Doll Guilt Nazan is a delightful vampire manga for Halloween. Vampire Doll Guilt Nazan is a forgotten manga title that's well worth the time for those who love gothic aesthetics and cute girls. Article by Molly Ishikawa, published 15 hours ago. You kind of got the goth loli thing going here with this particular manga. I know the goth loli is a very popular thing in Japan as well. Fans who have been in the anime community since the early 2000s will remember the shelves of bookstores being stocked with titles that nobody remembers nowadays, with Tokyo Pop going out of business until recently. Many of its IPs were lost to the annals of time unless picked up by another distributor. They were often short series that never received anime adaptations or OVAs and weren't discussed much online. One of these forgotten but still worthy titles is Vampire Doll Guilt Nazan. Sometimes simply referred to as Vampire Doll. The series follows the exploits of the titular Giltnazan. Giltna is a vampire who was sealed away 100 years ago. He's brought back by Kyoji Yorobari, a modern day exorcist who lives in a mansion with his younger sister Tonai. While Giltna is initially happy at being brought back, he soon realizes there's a problem. He's now inhabiting a wax doll that looks exactly like Tonai, except for his blonde hair. He also lacks access to his full power. Rather than being able to conjure terrifying magic, Giltna can conjure up sweets. Kyoji explains his reason for bringing the powerful vampire back was simply because he needed a maid. Oh, that's got to be the vampire's got to that's not a very happy vampire hearing that. Oh, you brought me back to life so I can be your maid, huh? Yeah, right, buddy. Thus begins a series of shenanigans that now plague Giltna's new life. As the odd group of friends get to know one another, they begin taking on strange cases that require a more mystical approach. Um, they meet new characters or new creatures and characters along the way. Giltna's bat friend Vincent, who moves in with them, a desert demon named Dune, and even Kyoji's twin brother Kyoichi, um, who acts more like a Saturday morning villain than a powerful exorcist and prefers the moniker Night Vale, quote unquote. Kyoichi wants to defeat his brother and steal Giltna in order to take over the world. Oh, there's a little megalomaniacal plot right there, huh? But he's so incompetent that he can't even get Vincent to stay on his side. It also doesn't help that Giltna can return to his true form by drinking the blood of the younger sister Tonai, um, though this only lasts for 10 minutes. Kyoji explains that this is because Tonai's pure heart, quote unquote. We also learn that the doll Giltna inhabits was made by Kyoji for Tenai, who was very sick as a child. This is why it looks exactly like her. Oh, that's sweet. Empire Doll Guilt Nazan is a short manga series, being only 6 volumes long. It takes a more comedic approach to its material, but it's a lighthearted story about found family and how kindness can change a person. Good story. While it doesn't offer much in the way of scares, its adorable cast carries the story with their distinct personalities, written by Erika Kari and distributed by Tokyo Pop. Features a gorgeous art style that blends the cutesy shoujo style with a gothic aesthetic. Again, it sounds like you kind of get the gothic lowly feel to it. One drawback of Vampire Doll is that the stories can seem disjointed and over the top at points. But overall, it's a cute, fun story that doesn't take itself too seriously. The series never received an anime adaptation, but maybe one day it'll get an OVA. Fans of vampires, dolls, or cute girls in frilly dresses will enjoy Vampire Doll Guilt Na Zan for what it is, a story about what would happen if you put a powerful vampire lord into the body of a cute teenage girl. Well, a doll of her, anyways. I think if you actually put him into the body of an actual teenage girl, it could actually prove um, could prove a little more dangerous. I'm getting ready for the next one. This is, of course, one story I know got you guys' attention at the very beginning, but let's see here. That's true. Let's see. Suits boy toy has to Invincible to handle getting his cheeks chapped. Yeah, but again, his power is ghosting, so I think it's also still very likely that somebody could just sneak up on him and take him out that way. Of course, guy probably has those butt plugs um, with the crystal krypton gem to tease super. Oh God, yeah. Do we really need that imagery? Anyways, moving on to the next story here, and I know this again. This is one that everybody was having for. I know we've got to have more than just one viewer. We've got at least three of us here. Sure, more than that. Anyways, let's get on to the next story here. Maycross Plus soars to U.S. theatrical release. The 1995 Maycross Plus movie, which was directed by Cowboy Bebop's Shinichiro Watanabe, will get a one-day theatrical release in the United States. Um, article by Michael Lacerna, published 13 hours ago. Here we go. Maycross Plus is finally coming to theaters in the United States. The classic 1995 anime, which was the directorial debut of Shinichiro Watanabe, who would later go on to direct shows such as Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, will make its theatrical premiere in the United States on December 14th. The movie will be released through Fathom Events and will be screened for one day only. Tickets for the event will be available for pre-order on November 12th. The movie is an edited version of a 4-volume OVA, original video animation, that was originally released in Japan in 1994. The first Kanan sequel to the original Super Dimension Fortress Macross anime. Macross Plus takes place 30 years after the conclusion of the original series, where humanity and their new Zentradi allies have now established new colony worlds throughout the galaxy. The story focuses on Isamu Dyson, a cocky ace in UN spacey military, who gets selected as a test pilot for one of the last Valkyrie transforming mechs, the YF-19. The YF-19 project is competing against the experimental YF-21, an even more advanced transforming fighter that is controlled by reading the pilot's brainwaves, which is piloted by Dyson's former friend turned rival, Gold Goa Bowman. Their rivalry gets even messier when both are reintroduced to Myung Fang Lon, a childhood friend that both of them once harbored feelings for. I guess it's a she. who is now serving as the producer for the famous virtual pop star Sharon Apple. Okay, Sharon Apple, huh? Guess she's sharing an apple. In addition to serving as the first anime project directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, this also marked the director's first work with composer Yoko Kanno, who would later compose the iconic jazzy and blues-infused soundtrack for Cowboy Bebop. Kanno would also return to the Macross series to compose equally acclaimed soundtrack to 2008's Macross Forever. Kanno is a pretty well-known composer. She's done quite a few works within the realm of anime. So, hey, Pop! Thanks for dropping in, my friend. We actually got through some of the comic stories earlier. A few minutes ago, went over a few stories regards to what's been going on, particularly with the Superman stuff and him fighting with climate change. We also went over an article where Mike talking about Mike Barron's latest project, Thin Blue Line, that graphic novel, and then Ethan Van Sciver giving some commentary on why comics is. Thank you for dropping in. If you can like and share this, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. We're actually just reading up on some of the anime stories here from CBR. So I hope though you are enjoying the content, and if you want to go back watch this again to see the comic related stories, you can do that too. Thanks for dropping in though. Let's see. Who else is here? So, yeah, comics talk with Pops Van Zant. Yep, thank you. LMAO. Sharon Apple is the first VTuber. Okay. Hi, you just read that song. Oh, hello, Comics Talk. Yeah, his name's Pops. Leto, just to let you know. Yeah, had to step away. Did we see anything else here? Yeah, nope. Yeah, so hey, Pops, I hope you're still in here. I hope you're catching some of the. Let's see. Okay, so the release of the movie will mark the return of the Macross franchise to North America. Movie was originally released on VHS and DVD in North America by Manga Entertainment, though this release is long out of print. The long-standing legal battle between the Japanese rights holders, the franchise, and Harmony Gold, the company that created the Robotech series, previously prevented the release of Macross material outside of Japan for decades. That legal fight was finally settled earlier this year, with all of the involved companies now agreeing to collaborate on the release of the Macross and Robotech material worldwide. Yeah, again, they had utilized the Macross material, to help make the formation for the Robotech cartoon. There's no word yet on an American release for the rest of when the other Macross sequel series, such as 1994's Macross 7, will be released in the region. The most recent Macross movie, Macross Delta Zettai Live, opened in Japan on October 8th. The movie is being screened alongside a new Macross Frontier short, The Labyrinth of Time, which also includes new music from Kano. Oh, there we go there. All right, so now we'll move on to the next story here. Gonna start. We're already coming up on an hour 26. I'm gonna probably have to start going through these pretty quickly here. 5 unmistakable signs of a tsundere anime character. Tsunderes are some of the most exciting and compelling anime characters, so anime vets and newcomers alike can learn how to spot them. Article by Linus Kemner, published 13 hours ago. And the one on the right there, I believe, is the God Tongue, Erika Nakari from Food Wars. The world of anime has many character archetypes for heroes, villains, and everything in between. These range from shonen action series to slice of life titles, such as the quote big sister and quote unquote big sister role, or the lovable doofus quote unquote himbo archetype, which we saw with Mike Guy. So with Son Goku being a prime example of the latter. That's another one. Son Goku from Dragon Ball. Arguably the most popular and distinct character archetype is the tsundere, a term even casual anime fans will know. Tsunderes have been around for decades now, and such characters embody both Tsun, prickly hostility, and Dere, warm affection and friendship. This archetype dates back to Neon Genesis Evangelion's Asuka Langley, and likely even before her. And some fans want to know how they can spot a tsundere when they burst onto the scene in an anime or manga. These characters are diverse, but they do have some common traits. Tsunderes are quick to defensively call people stupid. A tsundere may act aggressive and tease other characters to look tough, but in reality, they are highly defensive since they don't want their amorous feelings exposed too easily. When other characters pry into this, the tsundere will get defensive and deny their feelings by calling the other party stupid or dense, often tailoring their language to the characters and situation at hand. Stereotypically, a tsundere might say, "It's not like I like you, stupid," quote unquote. Characters such as Shitoge Kirasaki of Nisekoi and Kaguya-sama from Fruits Basket are known to act like this. A tsundere may have one fang. Look at the mouth right there. You can see that. This particular visual cue isn't unique to tsunderes, nor do all of them have the quote one fang unquote a visual gag. Still, there's enough overlap that if an anime viewer spots a confrontational character with one fang, there's a solid chance he or she is a tsundere or a playful bully. The one fang may appear while the tsundere is fussing at the lead or and defensively calling them stupid, or if they are teasing or pestering in a more typical way. Erina, not Erica. I thought it was Eric, but Erina Nakari from Food Wars has some tsundere traits, even if she didn't fully fall in love with anyone, and is sometimes seen with a single fang. The same is true of Asuna Kagurazaka from Ken Akamatsu's hit manga series Maho Sensei or Magic Teacher Negima. Um, Yeah, and I've seen that one, and I know it was Funimation dubbed the Negima series. I know Lucy Christian was the one who did the English voice for Asuna there. Tunderes have short tempers. Look at that look in that guy's eye right there. And tsundere is likely to be impatient, rash, and reckless in some or all situations, regardless of whether romance is involved. This is part of the soon half of their character. When they are standoffish, aggressive, or even mean to other characters, and they are easily provoked, these tsunderes are especially short tempered when the topic of their love interest comes up and they get defensive. Often, a tsundere will use violent visual gags to retaliate or avoid the topic, such as kicking the offending party high into the sky, clobbering them on the head with a club, or even throwing them out a window. Kiyosoma, for example, is quick to fight Yuki Soma, um, while Taiga Aisaka of Toradora fame, yeah, Tiger, Toradora, by the way, translates to tiger dragon, as I believe. So Taiga, tiger, is feared for her short temper and wooden sword, or a boken, it's called in Japanese. Tsunderes often have painfully vulnerable moments. And that right there, I believe, is Taiga Aisaka, who we just talked about. Tsunderes are all about balance, with their genuine loving sides contrasting evenly with a fierce outer shell to create a complete tsundere package. But there is more than one way to compensate for a tsundere's violent visual gags and quote unquote, you're so stupid accusations. These characters have their fair share of drama too, and may break down crying or make a dramatic confession or of self doubt or distress later on when the time is right. Often the tsundere character's inner pain or drama is the direct cause of their prickly exterior, um, and they will only admit this to their love interest or best friend. When these difficult moments are resolved with the love interest's help, the budding relationship might get a big boost. Tsunderes are typically stronger and more assertive than their love interests. As in Inuyasha has a tsundere. Oh, that's possible. I guess that is possible. An exciting romantic relationship in anime is often based on strong contrast between the two parties, such as size and height, combat prowess, assertiveness, and even intelligence or species. Tsunderes are typically quote unquote stronger than their love interest in one or more ways, such as having a bolder and more confident personality or having superior martial arts or magical skills. They might also be an upperclassman in school or simply have more authority and influence than the love interest. That combined with their almost bully like personalities makes the tsundere an apex predator of sorts, but not in a seriously harmful way. Such power and authority can help contrast even more with the tsundere's inner vulnerabilities and soft side. Eren Nakari in Food Wars, for example, is a better and higher ranked chef than protagonist Soma Yukihira, while Toradora's Taiga Aisaka is assertive and a formidable fighter, while Ryuji Takatsu is gentle and harmless. So there you go. Yeah, you almost get the impression that that if you had a tsundere who was interested in you, you know, it could prove problematic because it's like, how exactly would you deal with them? Ah, it's like they go off on you. It's like, okay, I'm gonna just go over here now. Let's see. God tongue, you don't you don't say. Let me alone. Night night toys. Have a good rest. Don't forget to make sure you're here on Friday because I'm going to make a huge announcement on Friday. Good night, toys. Nice seeing you, buddy. Nice seeing you, well, Leto. All right, so we're at an hour 37 here. We might end up running a little over because I did put out 8 stories. I think we still got time to get through them all, but um, yeah. Just to give you guys a heads up too, Nick will be on tonight. Um, Nick is saying rough day. Let's cleanse it with a Rittenhouse motion hearing. Okay, so that's what you guys have to look forward to when you go over to Nick's. So, anyways, let's get ready to move on to the next. I think we only got a couple articles here left. Say one and two. Yeah, we only got a couple articles left, so we'll try to blast them real quick here. I won't stop as much to comment. The best underrated harem anime from the 2010s. There are many harem animes available from the 2010s, so it's easy to miss a gem here and there. Article by Mark York, published 10 hours ago. Here we go, right here. Whoa, hello. Each harem anime story writer has his or her own idea of how to tell a story of many girls throwing themselves at one boy. Some focus on conveying a compelling and intricate plot. Others have their own form of expertise on the matter that sneaks its way into the narrative and helps educate the audience. Some want to show off what they think makes a quote unquote best girl or quote unquote waifu, or just want a good excuse to draw fan service. Yep, some of them it does seem that way. These different preferences and ideas for what makes an ideal character or story help give each harem anime a unique blend of positive qualities. Unfortunately, the influx of anime in the 2010s caused some quality series to go unnoticed. For all the creativity these writers put into their work, it's a shame to think about how much of it flies under the radar of harem anime fans abroad. To alleviate the issue, here are a few fun harem anime 2010s you may have missed out on. I've seen my fair share of harem animes. I may have seen some of these. Mantra Musume, that's the one I haven't seen yet. I probably will at some point. Mantra Musume isn't necessarily an unpopular series, but some of its positive qualities are gravely understated. It's best known for showcasing monster girls, a category that covers all different shapes and sizes, from lamias to slime girls. It also happens to be on the higher end of fan service spectrum. This take on the series caused many anime fans to bash it as a generic fetish pandering time waster. Okay, fetish pandering. Okay, well, hey, doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. There are people who may be into those fetishes. So, beyond the fan service, there's a surprising amount of depth to Monster Musume's world. Between episodes are segments where the various subcategories of all the different monster girls are elaborated on. So, from what they're saying there, it sounds like you get to learn a little bit more about these different species of monster girls. What it sounds like they're saying there. This might seem like a gateway to more fan service, but the detail of each profile showcases a mixture of lore and real world animal facts that deepen one's understanding of each monster. It puts a unique spin on the story that makes Monster Musume more than just another harem anime. Sounds interesting. We never learn. Okay, another one I haven't. So maybe these are ones I haven't seen yet. Yeah, you got a couple of characters with glasses there. The guy and what the girl just to his lower, immediate lower right there. We Never Learn is not necessarily an outstanding anime, but it too has its perks. The story revolves around a poor high school boy named Nariyuki Yugia, who hopes to get into college through a deal that involves tutoring a couple of female peers. A third tutee, a senpai, and his teacher also joins the cast. This naturally results in fun, wholesome hijinks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. It's important to remember that only one girl gets the guy. This would normally go without saying, but We Never Learn's original manga author does something less common and makes multiple endings with each girl. If fans want one particular girl to get the guy and the anime ends otherwise, you'll have to do some extra legwork and read the manga for the ending you want. That said, the We Never Learn anime is an enjoyable anime watch and should compel fans to read on for their ideal quote unquote good ending. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. Um, Actually, this particular anime reminds me of, I think, a couple. Um, Reminds me a couple of harem anime I think I've watched before. Let's see. I can't remember. There was one harem anime where the guy's teachers, all five of the girls who chose to live with him, were his teachers from his school. Initially, his homeroom teacher thought him living alone was not a good thing, and she wanted to go and take care of him, and it led some of the other female teachers to join them. I can't remember what that particular anime was, but that was a fun anime. Um, it's been a while since I've watched it too, so can't remember it. Let's see. Was there another one? It also. I think that's just it. Let's see. So moving on to Kiss Him Not Me. Yeah, these are gonna probably be ones I haven't seen or heard of. Kiss Him Not Me gives a little something different. It begins with the overweight, yaoi loving otaku Kai Serenuma after her favorite anime character dies. She locks herself in a room for a week without eating. She emerges much thinner, which invites the attention of four handsome boys and one handsome girl. Though she'd rather have the boys do things to each other while she watches from afar. Okay. Granted, not my cup of tea, but whatever floats your boat. The absurd premise should say enough about Kiss Him Not Me, um, but there's a little more. By making this a reverse harem anime, not only does the author change up the usual harem formula, And there are a number of reverse harem animes. Probably one of the more popular ones, of course, is Ouran High School Host Club. But they also choose to flesh out the main character. Usually, the protagonist is a blank slate for the audience to impose themselves upon. But Seri-Numa's eccentric personality makes her both cute and engaging. All right, so there you go with that one. So we got one more article to go. Maybe this one here, Kagyasama. Sounds familiar? Oh, the anime I was talking about there, Leto. See if I can find it real quick. To go through it like this is gonna just take too long. And I can't remember. I don't even remember who actually. All right. Well, anyways, the teacher thing. Yeah, I can't remember the actual title of it right now, but it was actually a pretty fun anime to watch. The guy had like basically 5 of his teachers end up living with him. It initially started with his homeroom / classics teacher, who felt like she wanted to, who felt like he needed more of a maternal influence in his life, in that he was living alone at the time. So she moved in with him, and then eventually, um, let's see, um, his PE teacher, female PE teacher, um, female science teacher, the female art teacher, and the school nurse all ended up moving in with him. And the school, as I recall, the school nurse um, utilized both scientific medical practice as well as Shinto, and all kinds of more mystical healing practices as well. The art teacher was a pretty art teacher, and both art and PE teachers were pretty hyper. So, all right. So, anyways, and again, it's seemingly I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Well, we never do with the counter, though, do we? Anyways, so moving on to this next story, then. Kagu's. This is going to be the last main story of the evening. Then I guess we are going to have to wrap up because I think we are. See, we're at an hour 50. We're at an hour 50 already, so we're going to be wrapping up pretty quick after this. And I will get to this day in each history. So, Kaguya-sama, how to get started with the anime and manga. With the release date for season 3 announced, here's a full scoop on Kaguya-sama and where to watch and read the series. Article by Timothy Donahue, published 8 hours ago. And here's a picture of that. Romance anime are a dime a dozen, but perhaps none are as perilous as the events shown in Kaguya-sama. Subtitled Love is War, The series turns matters of the heart into a psychological battlefield featuring two tsundere protagonists who refuse to admit defeat, i.e., their feelings for each other. Kaguya-sama shows just how far some people will go to avoid love. Oh boy. Though the original manga of Kaguya-sama Love is War may soon be ending, the anime is once again charging full speed ahead. With the release date for season 3 finally announced, here's what otaku should know about Kaguya-sama and where they can watch and read the series. The plot of Kaguya-sama. Kaguya-sama Love is War centers around Miyuki Shirogane and Kaguma Shinomiya, who are both top performing and well off students at Shunchin Academy. Everyone, including themselves, seems to think they would be the perfect couple. But both Miyuki and Kaguya are too proud to simply admit their feeling for one another. Thus, they devise plans, traps, and tricks to try and goad the other into confessing first. Oh boy, okay. Okay. Ah. First, turning the matter of a few simple words into an all out war of the minds. Hey, for those of you who are Leto and Toys, did you guys have to do psychological warfare to tell your wives that you love them? The series is written by Akasaka, who was inspired by his own lack of success in the arts of love in high school. He also wanted to write a thematically strong but easygoing series that would be popular with office ladies. This made Kaguya-sama focus more on the romance than anticipated. Originally, he wanted to instead make the series a sort of cat and mouse game similar to works such as Death Note. So, I guess what he wanted was to kind of make a romantic version of Death Note, I guess, is what they're saying there. Where to read Kaguya-sama manga? The Kaguya-sama manga began publishing in 2015, switching from Miracle Jump to Weekly Young Jump the following year. The series is still running and so far has 23 collected manga volumes, 20 of which have been translated and released by Viz Media in Western regions. All of the chapters have somewhat comical titles, such as Kaguya Wants to X or Miko Ino Wants to Y. Do we kind of get where they're going with that? Showcasing the changing perspectives throughout the story after returning from a hiatus, the series was announced last month as having entered into its final arc. Though the spin-offs Kaguya-sama wa Koku Rasetai, Dojin Ban, and Kaguya-sama o Kadaretai have yet to be localized. The entirety of the localized series so far is available digitally through Comixology, but physical versions can be ordered online through Amazon and Right Stuff Anime, or in physical retailers like Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million. Walmart also carries the title, although some earlier volumes are out of stock, and certain stores may not physically carry them. Where to watch the Kaguya-sama anime? A1 Pictures handles the anime adaptation of Kaguya-sama, which debuted back in 2019. So far, the show has 2 seasons, both of which are 12 episodes long. In 2020, the show's third season was announced alongside the premiere of an ONA episode. And ONA is original net animation. It's basically the streaming version of an OVA, basically, from what I understand, or the internet version of an OVA. And more recently, season 3 was revealed to be releasing in 2022. The staff and cast behind the first 2 seasons will return for this one, though it's unknown so far which streaming services season 3 will be exclusive to. Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Funimation handled the simulcast for North America, though Funimation acquired exclusive streaming rights for season 2. Amazon Prime Video also allows viewers to purchase individual episodes or the entire first season digitally. In terms of physical media, the aforementioned Amazon, Right Stuff Anime, and Walmart carry the Blu-ray collection of the first season. Though viewing the series this way is rather expensive. So there you go. So there we go. That's the end of the main stories tonight. As I said, we're right at an hour 57. So it looks like it's time to kind of wrap up here, but Tori's left. Yeah, I know he's left. And then sometimes laugh out loud. Yeah. As to my question, okay. So we're at an hour 58 here. So we're going to wrap up here. A reminder again for those who still, I know the counter says 0, but I know Leto's at least here. I can see that. YouTube's being screwy again. It's not even counting me as a viewer, apparently. I guess now it is. Yeah, so anyways, so are you guys ready for this day in Nietzsche history? And before I get to that, don't forget this Friday, aside from our historical comic retrospect, of course, I've got 2 major announcements. So hope you guys will be there for that as well. But anyways, I'll ask again, are you guys ready for this day in Nietzsche history? Yes? Okay. We're going to just go right Nietzsche, Mike. Yes. Nietzsche, good. Yeah. I'm going to get right into it then. So today being Monday, October 25th, 2021. Of course, 6 days away from Halloween, and we're in the last week of October here. So without any further ado, let's take a look at this day in Nietzsche history. Let me just do a quick little preview of what we got here to over. Come on. 2006 and 1971. Okay. Alrighty then. So here we go. So without any further ado, let's look back on this day in Nietzsche history. And first off, we're going to head back 50 years ago today and talk. Well, this might be considered somewhat of a sad note, as it were, but not really though, because we're not looking at Gandy Goose. That was just one of the characters. So on this date, 50 years ago, Paul Hilton Terry, who is an American cartoonist, screenwriter, film director, and producer. He, of course, he produced over 1,300 cartoons between 1950 and 1956. He was one of the co-founders of Terry Toons, which gave us such characters as, of course, Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. It's Mighty Mouse who's on his way. Heckle and Jekyll, Gandy Goose, and Dinky Duck. Paul Terry would pass away on this date in 1971 at the age of 84. So on this date in 1984, Paul Terry, co-founder of Terry Toons, American cartoonist, film director, screenwriter, producer, would pass away at the age of 84. So that, we have one more piece. Let's see. Terry Tunes. Yep. They even had their own comic book company as well. So, anyways, now on to the last piece of Nietzsche history for tonight. All right, so on this date back in 2006, which is 15 years ago today, the 175th issue of Veronica from Archie Comics went on sale on this date back in 2006. This date 15 years ago today, back in 2006, the 175th issue of Veronica from Archie Comics went on sale date for $2.25. It was 32 pages. And with that, guys, that's it for tonight. I thank you guys again for being here. As always, I do appreciate any and all shares. I hope we can get some more people in here someday and get the counter to stop screwing around. So I hope you all enjoyed the content tonight, enjoyed the stories, enjoyed the news, and I will hopefully see you all back here tomorrow. Bye.